Welcome back to Factory Sealed. It is September 29th, 2016. My name's Eric Peterson. Joining me today, once again, Mr. Daniel Curtis.
Well, hello.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you all?
Oh, if I was any better, there would have to be two of me.
Yeah, positively tickety-boo, one would say.
Wait, did you say positively Tickadabo? Like the island?
No, tickety-boo.
Like I'm a huge island emerging from the ocean?
No, tickety-boo.
Sounds like a fancy ghost.
Oh, I am tickety-boo.
Tickety-boo.
I've come to give you a ghost attack.
Oh, good God. I want none of your ghost attacks.
Well, speaking of penises...
Well, wait. Speaking of not penises, Tom isn't here and Jess isn't here.
Oh, nice link.
You like that? Because Tom's got the smooth area and Jess just doesn't have a penis that we know of.
Well, I would hope not.
So back to your penises.
Yeah, I just got done watching a very odd documentary.
About penises.
Penises were involved, and...
Are you sure you weren't watching porn?
I'm pretty certain. It was on Channel 4, which isn't well known for porn. And this guy from Australia, right, paints pictures with his penis. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Okay, so hold on. Like, does he put the...
Honest to God, proper paintings done with paint. He dips his todger in paint and rubs it against canvas.
Does he use his hand to guide it, or is he like full on saluting?
It basically looked like he was jacking it into a painting, but he was rubbing his cock all over it.
There is no way that can be safe.
I know. Want to know the best bit about it?
I really don't.
The paintings are actually quite good. And, right, he's called Picasso.
Got me original Picasso here.
And he signs his name at the end by actually inserting the brush into his penis.
Oh!
I don't know why he just doesn't hold it at this point. It seems a bit pointless. But it's just this crazy old dude from Australia just dipping his nuts and balls in paint on the telly. And then at the end, right, he like goes to the guy who's like presenting the documentary, and he goes, right, I'd like to just try and fling it across the room at this point. And he just does a thrust and the brush just went flying.
There's no way that's real.
It is real. I just watched it.
Australian guy paints with penis.
Always a worrying search.
Picasso, performance artist.
Yes, that's him.
I mean, they're not terrible.
For a drawing with a penis. I mean,
apparently he's been on some TV shows.
Yeah, he was on this one.
Oh, Dan, you have to see this. Go to picasso.com/TV-shows. You have to see the website header.
Oh, God.
Why am I looking at that?
That's basically what he looks like.
You know who he looks like? You've seen Dumb and Dumber, right?
Yeah.
He looks like Harry.
A little bit. He also looks like Judy Finnegan, who's an English TV presenter.
I've spent way
and
too
a woman.
Oh my God.
So, yeah.
And you watched this entire documentary from
it was a 15-minute segment just about him. It's called Weird and Wonderful. It's crazy things from all over the world.
I wonder how much his paintings go for. And does he have to like sanitize them before he sells them?
I don't know, because they've like that authentic penis smell with your paint.
Smells like down under bush.
Smells like a down under trouser snake.
Does he get hair stuck in his paintings?
Oh, come on.
Does that add to the authenticity of it?
I think he was smooth. He doused himself in virgin olive oil beforehand, just in case. Oh, God, Eric, I forgot. He also, to finish off the edges of the paint, rubs it through his arse crack.
What? There's no way this is real.
It is real. I just watched it.
Wait, so he takes the canvas and just slides the edge of each of it through...
Basically down through the crevice towards the penis. But yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I mean, whatever gets your rocks off there, I guess.
I thought it was bloody hilarious.
Did Crystal watch it?
Yeah. She was disgusted. I was just laughing.
Did she ask you to make her?
I offered, but she said no.
Mm.
It's worth a go, though. I mean, anybody could do it, really.
Good Lord.
Unless you don't have a penis. Like, sorry, Tom.
You could still do the ass crack finishing.
Tom, finish this off. So, anyway, Jess and Tom aren't here because this is a special show, which is recorded midweek. Ooh, saucy.
Ooh.
Why are we doing a special show, Eric?
We're doing a special show for a couple reasons. First of all, we feel very bad about having 2 weeks off.
Well, that's your fault for nearly dying, but...
Well, yeah. I mean, I got to confront my mortality once in a while.
Yes, you do.
And then there may be a possibility that we can't record this weekend, so we wanted to get another show out to you guys before that. So we still love you.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Oh,
we do love all of our fans.
Well, you and I clearly the most. I don't.
Ridiculous.
When was the last time that Jess was on the show?
Who's Jess?
I'm not sure.
Is she that woman who was on a couple of times?
Yeah, she's the one who brought on Toronto Batman.
All right, yeah, I remember her. Says a boot a lot.
Yeah.
Fixation with curling irons.
So,
burns down trucks.
Did Jess play... Hold on, because we're on episode 111. I think her last one was 107.
Where's she been? You'd think that woman was moving house and stuff.
And getting divorced.
Yes.
Because she didn't do the Wario Land with us, because that's when we introduced the bad accents.
Oh, God. We're still waiting on the Jess Russian.
Yeah, it's going to be bad.
It is going to be bad. Really?
I don't even think she'd
really
try
bad.
it.
Basically, she's abandoned us.
Speaking of accents, I think this would be a fun game to play.
Oh, God. I know.
I don't remember what it was called, but I sent a picture of it to you guys a while ago. Basically, it's this card game. It's a party game where they have a bunch of cards with different accents on it, and you draw an accent, and then you draw a card with a phrase on it, and you have to read that phrase in that accent.
You should get some. Do an entire episode about that.
Oh God, that would be awesome.
While simultaneously doing Dungeons and Dragons.
I want to find the name of it. Oh, it's called Utter Nonsense.
Sounds like a fitting title for this show.
Pip Utter Nonsense, jolly good. There, I sent you a link to it.
Oh, thank you.
I think it looks like a blast.
I imagine it would be.
Speaking of cards, Daniel.
Yes.
I'm not a big fan of trading card games like Pokemon or Magic or anything resembling thereof, but I just saw today that the Final Fantasy trading card game is getting an English Western release at the end of October.
I didn't even know this existed until today.
Neither did I, but oh my God, it looks awesome.
It does look awesome, but would we really do much with it?
I would never play it.
No.
I just want to...
I mean, but when I was younger, I used to collect a lot of Pokemon cards, but we used to just collect them. We didn't actually used to play the game until probably a couple of years later when we finally sat down and read it, how to do it, you know? And I've got some friends... I've got some friends that are really big into Magic, and just the amount of money that gets dumped into those decks is insane. I mean, I don't even know how much I must have spent on Pokemon cards. And occasionally I used to get the import packs in Japanese with no understanding of what they are, just because they were new and shiny. So, they're quite literally in sometimes because they get shiny ones.
I used to collect baseball and basketball and football cards, which are now completely worthless. I actually just found my binder that has all of those in there.
I've still got all my old Pokemon cards. I think some of them are worth a bit of money, but...
Did you keep them in one of those card binders?
Yes, I did.
So they're all still in really, really good shape?
Well, apart from the most rare one, which is slightly peeling away, which is a shame, but never mind.
Well, that's poop sandwich.
First edition base set 2 Charizard.
Oh, dear.
Snazzy.
Yeah, the Final Fantasy trading card game actually looks really cool. I think what's going to deter me, though, is the price.
You said it was, what, $180?
Well, they're doing an Opus 1 collection, which comes with 136 cards, I think I said. Here, I'm going to pull it up right now.
$180?
Oh, wait. Just hold your tits.
Tits held. I'm hoisted them up right now.
So apparently, as of now, in the Japanese release, there are more than 2,000 cards in the Final Fantasy trading game.
What?
2,000 cards.
I know that's a series with a lot of stuff in it, but bloody hell.
So the English version starts off with 216 cards. Opus 1. I don't know if that comes with one of every card available. I would think it would, but there are cards from Final Fantasy VII Remake, Dissidia, and World of Final Fantasy, which is pretty cool because that World of Final Fantasy is not even out yet.
So, do they have cards from Final Fantasy VII Remake which haven't been shown yet?
That's a good question.
Because we haven't seen a lot of Final Fantasy VII Remake yet.
It also says each card in the set, so every 216 cards will have a premium foil counterpart.
Ooh. So can you buy booster packs and stuff?
Yes. I don't know when those are all coming. I looked at their website, and it has zero information. It just says, subscribe and come back later.
No, that's useful. Thanks.
So they have... I see a booster pack set of Final Fantasy X. There's Final Fantasy 13, the 7 remake booster packs, but that's all that they really show on the site. This one, oh, dude. This one's actually pretty cool. Check this one out. This is what you were asking about, the Final Fantasy 7 remake. So this is one of the cards.
Let's have a look.
That's actually not the card, but that's like the art style that they're going to be putting on there. So it looks like they're just shots from the promo trailer.
Yeah, they are. Definitely. I mean,
if you scroll down a little bit and look at the hand-drawn version of Sephiroth and Cloud.
Eric, have they never made Triple Triad properly?
They did on... There's an Android app, the Final Fantasy Shrine or Final Fantasy Crystal something or other, and it was a mini game within.
All right. Those hand-drawn sprites are from Dissidia.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
So it's basically just shots from the games, which isn't that impressive. I would prefer it was more kind of redone, proper graphic comic style artwork. Would be pretty cool.
I'm sure you can look up online and find the Final Fantasy trading card Japanese versions to see exactly what they're going to look like.
Probably.
I can't imagine they're just pulling sprites out.
It looks like they are.
I mean, this Aerith one looks pretty sweet.
There's quite a lot of card games around nowadays. It's interesting that card games have become kind of things to play on computers as well.
Like the Elder Scrolls Legends that's coming out.
Yeah, and Hearthstone and The Witcher are making Gwent as well, of course.
I think the thing for me is that I never really got sucked into the Blizzard world enough to care much about Hearthstone.
Yeah.
I never really had a group of friends that played Magic, so I never picked it up. I just missed Pokemon as a kid, which I'm not sure how I swung that.
I don't know. Too busy playing urban golf, probably.
It's got to be. But Final Fantasy, I think, could be the one that draws me into it. However, I think it boils down to the fact that you have to have people to play this with. Yeah. I don't want to just sink $2,000 into a card game that just sits there.
No, this is the problem. I'd love to collect all that, but I would want to play against someone, and you're in America, so chances I probably won't play.
We could do it via phone. People used to do really
just lie.
long distance games of chess. They would mail each other their move.
Yeah. Let's send carrier pigeons to each other.
Yes.
Can you not get Final Fantasy top trumps? That would be fun.
Final Fantasy top trumps. What's that?
I don't know what top trumps is.
No.
Is this just an English thing?
Top trumps.
It's a card game. Basically, you get cards and they have different statistics on them.
Oh, yeah, don't know.
And basically, each of you has certain cards, and then you pit the statistics against each other. Whoever wins gets the other person's card.
Huh.
Really? You don't have that?
Never heard of it.
It's like...
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You can get all kinds of different stuff, like Harry Potter ones and things like that. And I can't believe I've never heard of Top Trumps.
Well...
It probably is over there.
It could be. I mean... I just haven't heard of it nor seen it.
Find it. Get it.
Get it. Nope, no results. So, that's that. Apparently coming out end of October. You know what else comes out in 2 weeks?
PSVR.
PSVR.
PlayStation Virtual Reality.
Oh, man. I am pumped. You know why?
VR porn?
Well, I don't know if the PlayStation one will be compatible. It'll just be a matter of time before somebody allows
you can go on the browser. You can go on the
PSVR.
browser, can't you? So
Yeah, but I think it'll just be a matter of time before the drivers come out for that thing for PC.
yeah, it's just a matter of time before the games come out. Probably in Japan. You'll have to import them, but
Dude, the one I'm looking forward to the most, 100-foot robot golf.
that does look pretty hilarious.
I just learned that there's a VR version of it.
Oh,
It's going to
really?
be awesome. Yeah.
Is there dangerous golf not on it as well? That looked pretty good.
Did you play it? Because
No.
I heard it was pretty terrible.
No, but it looked fun. I mean, getting to smash
Yeah,
stuff
I
up.
think it would be. I think it'd be fun for
Kind
about
of like
20 minutes.
next gen time splitters, where because all I remember about time splitters is throwing bricks through windows.
Yes, this is exactly like that without any of the time splitters.
Yes.
So not like time splitters
Can
at
you
all.
remember that challenge on time splitters?
No.
Can you not? It was I did it over and over again because I was trying to get the platinum medal, and you have to basically there's an entire level filled with plates and windows, and you have to smash all of them within a time limit. And the platinum medal was like so tight with time, you had to be precise with every brick, and it was so hard.
I do not recall that.
Really?
No.
Well, you suck. We still need to play a time splitters.
Future perfect, preferably.
Yes, but
Yeah.
harder to get.
Yeah.
I think you can get it on PS2, can't you?
Yes, I have it on Xbox. It's just if you have it and Jess has it and Tom has it.
I have it too. We could do it.
Well, I don't think. Yeah, you and I could.
But then
Seems like we're the only ones
those
who
two
do
are
the
never
show
here
anymore.
anyway. So
Well, Tom just declined the show for this weekend.
yeah, I know. What's going on?
Good Lord, Yom.
I don't. But why hasn't how the PS4 has the PS2 games on it now?
Mm-hmm.
They just done about 10 and not bothered doing anything else.
Yeah,
Yeah, why? They've got loads.
kind of sucks.
I know. I'd buy them. I don't want money.
Well, they came out at such a great price too. I mean, $15 is great for an up-resed version of PS2 games.
Especially in RPG.
Oh yeah. You definitely got your $15 worth out of Rogue Galaxy and Dark Cloud.
Without doubt.
Yeah.
Speaking
Which
of
is
Dark
exactly
Cloud,
why we're here today.
Oh, that was a beautiful one.
Segue. I think we
Segway.
attacked that segue together at the same
It's a
time.
dual segue.
Jewel? Like ruby? Sapphire?
Yes. Jewel.
Amber?
Jewel.
Yeah. Jewel?
Say duty for me.
Duty.
Duty.
Judy.
Duty.
How do you say it?
Duty.
There's no J in front of
There's
it.
also no duty in it.
It starts with a D.
Is there
What
any-
sound does D make?
Is there
Dan?
any Richard's dick in it?
I mean, yeah. What sound does a D make?
D.
D does not make the sound D. It goes D.
D.
D. Udi.
How do you say my name? Dan. D.
Yeah, I don't go Deanne.
Deanne. Deanne. I like it.
I bet you failed first grade when it came time for all of your letter sounds.
I doubt it, because it's English.
Well, you obviously don't know what D says.
What's
It
a
says
D?
D. A says eh.
It means derp. Shut up.
Duty, not Judy.
Duty.
Judy, as in Judy.
It just sounds like you're saying poo, though. It just sounds stupid.
Well, yeah, because we've associated the term duty with crap.
Yeah, but that's duty, not duty.
Duty.
It's
Fine. I will start enunciating.
there.
I will start enunciating all of
This
my
entire
T's.
conversation is so stupid.
Let me clip my button.
This is so stupid.
It is my duty.
What are you talking about, you goon?
Well, you're... Shut up.
Right, Dark Cloud.
Dark Cloud 2. Not to be confused with the first one.
And not to be confused with Dark Chronicle as well.
Which is the dumbest name change.
Why? Why? As they changed it.
I don't know. Because it was... The first one was Dark Cloud in the UK, right?
I don't know, maybe because it's not a direct sequel, they thought maybe people would think it's a direct sequel and they're trying to make it look like a new game.
Let me tell you about a game called Final Fantasy. Have you heard of that one?
I have.
You know how they're all the same name,
Are they?
but different numbers?
The last one was called Final Flange over here.
Oh, well, we got Final Fanny.
That would be something very different in the UK.
I mean, it's the last Fanny in the world.
And the next one is called Final Fish.
Ooh.
Final Fernando, of course. That was the best one.
Yeah. So we left halfway through the game. This is the second part of the Dark Cloud show, which we did end of August. So exactly a month ago today.
Oh, wow. Not bad.
Yeah. It's a game I've been pushing Dan to play quite hard.
He has
if you listen to our first show, he almost
years.
abandoned it. But he didn't. He pushed through. He persevered. And here we are wrapping up one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah, a game he had never finished.
We'll get to that at the end. Remind me to talk about that.
I will.
Because I have some strong feelings about it. Perhaps even emotions of sorts.
Was the manly tears cried?
There were perhaps some self-diddums involved.
Oh.
I looked at myself in the mirror and just went, oh, diddums.
Oh, now what am I going to do with my life? I'll have to break open Kingdom Hearts finally.
No, I'll die before that game opens.
I'm going to come round your house and open it. I swear to God.
I wouldn't put it past you.
I really would.
And then stuff a biscuit in there.
Yep. A
real biscuit.
Real biscuit.
Not a cookie.
A biscuit.
Biscuit. So when we left, you said you don't remember much of Dark Cloud at all.
Well, I do, if you remind me, but it's such a long game that there's so much to absorb.
So we left off after Max finally met his mother.
Oh, yes.
In the Luna base.
Luna Lab.
Luna Lab. There we go. Come to find out, his mom is this revolution leader in the future.
And a time-traveling mystical wench.
Who hooked up with his dad, decided to stay for a while and went, I need to go back to my time. And bailed on him. So she's actually kind of a bad mom.
Yeah, a reason for going back was kind of she wanted to fight Emperor Griffin in the future, but surely if she's in the past, that hasn't happened yet. So she could have just stayed in the past and it wouldn't have any effect on the future.
Well, they knew that Griffin was in the past, but she just didn't go far enough back.
Right.
Because there was a time where everything in Max's world was fine.
Yes. But she wants to go back to the future, not the past.
Yeah.
So, but the future hasn't happened yet, right? So she could stay in the past.
Have I told you that I despise a lot of stories that have time travel in them.
They just get convoluted and silly.
It's so easy to poke holes in it.
Oh, yeah. You haven't told me, but I agree completely.
We left after that. They had just discovered they want to build the Ixion to combat Emperor Griffin.
Yeah.
And to do that, they needed to restore the Gundurata workshop on Mount Gundor, correct?
Didn't you have to go to the place by the seaside first? Have we done that one?
Yeah, Vinicio. That was Luna Lab.
What?
That was Luna Lab.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The future was Luna
Lab.
Yeah,
of course. So yes, Mount Gundor.
So this is always the spot that when I would play this previously, I would get to and just kind of peter off.
Why?
I don't know. So pretty much everything from here forward was all brand new for me. I'd played a few levels of Mount Gundor, but just never really gotten too deep into it. I think a lot of why I never progressed, as I mentioned before, was like I was afraid to finish it, because if I finished it, then I wouldn't have any reason to go back and play it. But we'll get to that part later. Mount Gundor.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
If we get to it later, I'll say it then.
Yeah. Mount Gundor is... you're on, obviously, the side of a mountain. You get to the open land where you get to build your city, and it's just spewing with geysers, and it's raining fire. So you need to make your way up the mountain, and...
Delightful place for a holiday.
Oh, yeah, it's great. If it's raining embers, they would have just immediately caught on fire.
I know. But only wooden structures do.
That was a really cool element. Did you ever accidentally build a wooden structure?
No, I kind of clicked on and didn't bother.
Yeah. I did just to see what would happen. So if you can build here while it's raining fire, but they tell you be cognizant of what you're building, because if you build something out of wood and you travel to the future, and if that structure, like if you just need a house with somebody to live in it, made out of wood, it'll burn down, and then when you get to the future, it won't actually still be there and won't have the effect. So kind of a neat little add-on.
Just a quick recap, by the way, if you haven't listened to the first episode of this, which you probably should, but on Dark Cloud you get to build cities, well, not cities, towns in different places which have an effect on the future. So in each location, that's what you do. That's what he's all about. So yeah, just in case.
I liked this one. Mount Gundor is one of my favorite ones to build on, just because you actually had the opportunity now to start building a city on blocks and like creating bridges and structures on different levels.
See, Eric, I did like that, but I found you need far too many materials to do it, and you don't really get enough stuff to do so.
Well, I'd gone through and I had actually just level farmed for quite some time. So I had 50, 60,000 gold. And I just went and bought as much clay and sturdy rock as I possibly could and just went to town.
See, I bought the wrong type of rock and then clicked on it and I was like, oh, shit.
Oh, you got the standard rock instead of...
From a level grinding perspective, this is one of the things I remember most about this game, because it is a lot of grinding throughout. I mean, you have to go back to locations quite a lot just to grind for things.
Yeah, and they do it in such a fashion that as you progress, you can't go back to like the water sewers from the beginning and just level grind there, because you'll get 0 experience from them. So it forces you to level grind in the harder areas.
Yeah, but you kind of, because you have the two characters, of course, Max and Monica, and you kind of abandoned using Monica, didn't you?
I did. This is kind of right around that time where I abandoned her, because you can purchase these wristbands or these amulets that allow you to break any of the seals that are on a level. So really the only reason up until this point there was to have a second playable character was for story, because Max and Monica are on this adventure together. But the only time they ever physically force you to play as Monica is when there's a seal on one level forcing you or prohibiting you from using Max.
Yeah, but
if you just have those amulets, you can just break them.
You can, but some of the enemies Monica actually does more damage to than Max does.
Yeah, but by this point, you and I both level grinded pretty hard.
Yeah, as you progress to higher levels, you could just use Max and ace everything. But
The only two that I really ever used were Max and Steve the Ride Pod.
See, I barely used the ride pod.
Oh, God, the Ride Pod was just gold.
I think it makes it too easy.
It does. It's the balance in this game is a little off. I think Monica is way too weak. She takes way too long to power up. I never even dabbled in the monster transformation.
No, that's
period.
An entire different mechanic that I just didn't touch. I didn't even know how it worked. So until I asked you,
you have. I tried to go through it, but it just became too cumbersome. Mm-hmm. You buy these gift capsules that look like pigs' heads, and then you have to fill them with a certain number of items of a certain kind, then find that enemy, throw it, hit the enemy. If you miss, it does not work. You have to physically hit it. So if it is an airborne enemy, you have to wait till they're diving at you, throw the capsule, then defeat the enemy, and you'll get the badge.
How are you meant to know which enemy, which items and stuff? Without a guide?
you can yeah, that's the easiest way. I believe you can transform into a monster and go and talk to other monsters and get information about it. So I went through and collected 3 or 4 different badges, but then you have to try to level up these monsters by fighting with them, and it's just I didn't play as Monica, so there's no way in hell I was going to play as a monster.
No.
So I think there were 12 monsters. So you have 12 plus...
Only 12? There's loads of enemies in this game.
Yeah, but as each monster... I'm trying to remember how it goes without really digging too deep into it, because I frankly don't give a crap about it. I think it's a completely extraneous piece of the game.
Yeah.
I just don't... to be 100% honest, I don't know because I didn't do it.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, there's too much in this game to dabble with everything, I think. So,
there are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 monsters that you can get.
Right.
So they range from
kind of carbon copies of other enemies, though. They just kind of change the color palette a bit.
Give them a different attack pattern, things like that. So Mount Gundor is my favorite town to build in, but my least favorite future to explore.
Oh God, the future is terrible.
It's so big, and that's kind of a theme with PS2 games. They make environments large just for the sake of making large environments.
Yeah. Well, basically, when you get to the future, you can find these little chests around which have items in which give you more health or better defense, but they're tiny, tiny chests and very hard to spot.
They blend in.
They blend into the environment, and you have to go. Basically, the Gundor lab is kind of 3 levels when it's fully built up of a big circle, and you have to go all the way around each level to find these tiny, tiny chests. And the chests only appear at certain points in the story, so you can go further past Mount Gundor, and chests will appear later on as well. So you have to come back.
You and I, jumping ahead a little bit, I made it all the way to the final level and just had garbage health and garbage defense.
Yeah,
just
I did the same after you told me this.
Your max health you can get, I think, is like 248.
Yeah.
When I got to the final levels, I was health at maybe 84.
Wow.
No, 68 or so. It was just junk, and my defense was just as low. So you pick up these apples of Eden, potato pies, witch parfaits. I think those are the only 3.
They are. And you also get jewels as well.
Yeah, the potatoes are for Max, the witch parfaits are Monica, and then the fruit of Eden is max health that you can split between the 2. I had to go on this insane treasure chest hunt to try to find as many as I could. And in the process, I discovered that when you are building each town, it'll say, there's 2 different phrases that'll pop up. One will say, hey, a change has been made in the future. And then the next one is, a change has been made in the future. Maybe we should go check it out.
Maybe something will happen, I believe.
That's what it is. So the first one is just my theory on that, and it's probably, it could be true, it could be false, is that's when a new treasure chest shows up. Because I was reading about the treasure chest locations. There are multiple treasure chests that appear in the same spot. So if you lay a house down and put the butler in there, that could activate one. And then later, if you build a bridge next to a palm tree, that could activate another one. The second one could be in the exact same location as the first. So if you didn't go and collect the first one, you only get the second one and miss out on that first one.
Yeah, I did this multiple times, but I, towards the later levels, try to go back in whenever possible to look. But like I said before, they're quite easy to miss because they're so small. This is the problem. And I don't know.
Yeah, they're very, very, very hard to spot.
I feel there should be better mechanics for upgrading than this.
Or maybe give it like an extra item that Max could have that would put like a little compass that would guide you towards those or in the general vicinity of them.
Yeah, they could have just put them in the dungeons, to be honest. I mean,
there's so much stuff in the dungeons as it was.
Yeah, true. I mean, Mount Gundor with the dungeons as well, Eric, is where I think it took 2 turns. First of all, it got incredibly difficult. Mm-hmm. And secondly, it got unnecessarily long.
Oh, yeah. And this one's not even close to the longest dungeon.
No, not at all. To this point, basically, you go through all the different... A dungeon consists of different floors. So you go around a floor, you battle all the enemies, you get an item to progress to the next floor. But in these, from Mount Gundor onwards, they get bigger and bigger. So you're talking probably 20 plus stages on Mount Gundor, and then I'm sure the last level is about 30 plus. So
yeah,
with branching paths.
So getting up to that, first of all, in Mount Gundor, you get up to the top, you quell that fire squall, and then the battleship shows up with what's his nuts on there.
Yeah, basically the fire squall's that machine that's pumping out the fire embers, isn't it? And you have to you get a time bomb from the future, which you put on that, and then it gets destroyed.
Yep. Which I think is really neat because it forces you to build your town out just enough to get something from the future. And then you go to the future, it allows you to progress further into the dungeon and so on. Mm-hmm. The death arc here I thought was a pretty cool battle where you have to use Steve and shoot at this flying arc that's circling the mountain. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool fight.
The guy's name that was on there
seemed to raise the stakes a little bit.
What was the boss? Why can't I think of his name? He's the guy who controlled Dr. Jamming. The guy that flies the death ship. What's his name?
I don't know.
Oh, God, I can't think of it.
We do our research.
Gaspard.
That's him. Yep.
I don't remember much about these bosses here. I do remember the ultimate Gaspard. So he has 2 forms. At the end of Mount Gundor, you actually physically fight Gaspard in his first form, and then he's got an ultimate Gaspard dragon form. And I remember both of these forms being very difficult, probably because I didn't have enough health.
I didn't struggle with these. I just aced it with the ride pod.
I don't remember. It's so long ago.
I mean, but at this point you find out that Gaspard kind of had a bad childhood and stuff. His mother died, and then he turns evil because he doesn't believe in people and stuff.
Don't you have an option to spare him?
I thought he died anyway.
Well, he does, but you have an option to like invoke your mercy upon him or something.
Yeah. Can't remember
that. Chapter 6, after this now, you go to actually meet Emperor Griffin. You hop aboard the Ixion.
Which is a sweet futuristic train thing.
Oh, it is super.
It's pointless being a train because it flies.
Yes.
It's on tracks, and it first comes out of Lunar Lab, and then it takes off into the sky, and I'm like, what's the point of the tracks?
So this is where I got really ticked off, because there's a picture... I really obsessed over upgrading Steve to the highest items that you could get, like the Sun and Moon armor, the Nova Cannon 4. I wanted the jet engine on the bottom of him, the jet hover.
Yeah.
And I had the guide that flipped through everything that I needed. And I looked at what I needed, and one of them was a firehouse. And the firehouse is where you shovel the coal inside the train. And when I noticed that, I'm like, well, crap, train's gone. I'm never going to be able to get this. So I started reading online, and people were like, no, once you get to chapter 8, then you can get it. Jumping ahead, I got to chapter 8. Took a picture of the firehouse, and it didn't give me the little ding-a-ling like it's a new picture.
Yeah.
I'd already had it.
Oh, God.
So had I just gone in and checked...
Yeah, use your eyes, Eric. They help sometimes.
I thought I did. Like, I went through, there was a fire hose and a firehouse.
There's so much stuff to take pictures of, though.
There's hundreds.
I couldn't be asked to go through the list at the end because I had so many.
So we get to the future, and you find Emperor Griffin's palace, Moonflower Palace, and you actually confront Emperor Griffin here.
No, that's the past.
You're right, 10,000 years in the past.
Close, Eric, close.
You confront Emperor Griffin, who is a child.
This was slightly underwhelming.
It took me a while to figure out where I knew that name from.
The voice,
the name, yeah, the voice is the voice actor of Phil and Lil from Rugrats.
I couldn't believe that. But once you hear it, it is like, yeah, that's them. It's so weird.
Yeah, and then every time he spoke after that, I just couldn't shake it.
Can't take him seriously. But that he is basically just a child. And a child is a slightly underwhelming villain, but of course, said child then transforms into a massive kind of evil gremlin thing for RPG reasons, as usual.
Did you struggle with this boss at all?
Not the first one. Not Emperor Griffin, no.
As his child form, I struggled with it a couple times.
I just, by this point, Max's gun was pretty powerful, so I just kind of kept my distance and kept shooting him in the face until he died. So
once you beat him, then you gain this star key. And this is the only part of the game that I actually can truly say I did not enjoy, where you have to go back. So in the first 4 dungeons, there were branching paths that you got to that you just couldn't go. Mm-hmm. You couldn't go that way. So now you have to go back through all of those levels, unlock that gate, and then continue through 6 stages after that, which are very difficult, and to get a gem altar. So there's earth, wind, fire, and water. The bosses at each of those, defending those gems, were stupidly easy.
They were.
Right in there with Steve and blasted away.
They weren't bosses, they were carbon copies of enemies.
Yeah, but they were called bosses.
But they weren't.
So you have to collect these gems, take them back to what's that Stonehenge place called?
Don't they just call it Henge or something?
I thought it was Kazarov. Karazov Henge?
Karazov Henge. Stonehenge, whatever.
Yeah, that's what I just called it every time. And then by doing... what that does is it creates a link between the present and the future so that they can bring Pasnos. It's called the Chrono Union. Brings Pasnos to the
we completely missed what Pasnos is.
Oh, yeah, it's a flying fortress.
Which, basically, when you finish Mount Gundor, you're building Mount Gundor to complete Pasnos, which is this big airship floating city thing, which looks awesome. And I was so gutted that I don't get to use it.
Yeah.
It just looked so good. And then you get a cinematic where it fights a load of golem monsters. Which
once the Chrono Union completes and he transforms, like this castle just morphs into a gigantic transformer.
Yes, and then you still don't get to use it.
No.
And I was like, well this is rubbish.
No. So we finally make it to Moonflower Palace. And you were talking about how the game gets long.
Yeah.
This is where it gets really long.
Really, this dungeon. Honestly, Ari, I think this dungeon took me about 5 hours all told.
20, 22, 24, 20. There's almost 30 stages in this dungeon. And each of those dungeons is 15, 20 minutes. Minimum.
Minimum. Definitely minimum. Particularly at this point, I had to go back and get more health because this is where I struggled because it was so hard.
Yeah, I started going back to Mount Gundor to try to ace all the levels just to get the experience. And then this is where I went on that mini treasure chest hunt. The difference with Moonflower Palace, so you get there and I forget who tells you, but there are all these pictures along the wall of the garden.
It's that queen, isn't it? The one who's...
The queen comes out and tells you that Griffin...
Queen Golden Boobs, as I called her, because she has a gold breastplate.
He used to be a very loving child. And his name actually isn't Griffin, it's Cyrus. And he's been possessed. He's been taken over by an evil spirit. So we need to recreate a place of solace for him, which was the garden at Moonflower Palace. So now you're not just building a town randomly. You still have diorama elements, but you have to build it very specifically, which was really cool because they give you 8 pictures of the garden from different angles. And based on those pictures, you have to reconstruct this garden exactly.
The angles were rubbish, though.
Oh, yeah.
So it was still very difficult. You did everything right apart from one square, didn't you?
I did.
And then you had to do it all again.
I started with the fountain because it's almost exact how everything fits within. So I did the row down the middle with the fountain, and then everything was like a quarter tile off to the left. So when I got to that final piece, putting the last walkway on the side that was too short just didn't fit. So I had to pick everything up and relay it all.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
But these did it reasonably well. Didn't take too long. It baffled my brain for a little bit, but then I was like, okay, it all slots together, I guess.
I think my favorite thing about the Moonflower Palace, though, was just the levels themselves were so just grandiose, and the dungeon style was just awesome.
It got a bit tedious, but yeah.
Oh, it got tedious for sure. But
I liked the
this
enemies in this one, like the cards and things. They were quite cool.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of tough ones in here, like one-hit kill enemies.
Oh yeah, and
even with Steve, and my Steve was fully powered.
Playing
he would still die.
Playing Sfida, the golf game, was pretty fun in this one too.
So we talked a lot about Sfida, and there was something that you can unlock after you clear. There's a person you can only recruit after clearing 10 Sfida stages.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of my time playing, I still hadn't cleared enough to recruit her.
Really?
Yeah.
I got pretty good at it, I must admit. But some stages just throw you completely because they're so difficult.
Well, what sucks is that a lot of the stages, the hallways have little cliffs off the side, or like water pools or lava or places that they can fall.
Yeah. I sent you a clip of me doing it in Mount Gundor, didn't I? Where I bounced it off about 8 walls and it somehow went in the target.
Was it like your last hit? And you
it
went,
was my last hit, and I just went, screw it, and it went in, and it was great. It was so good. I did another one where I angled it through a tiny gap between like a rock and somewhere else.
Saw that.
And it just went straight through and straight in the target. I was like, yes! But if you can actually at this point go back to the earlier levels to play Sfida in them as well, and the forest level is impossible. I don't even know how you can do it.
You have to cut the corners.
You do.
Like you can cut through the trees and over the top.
I know, but you can't see where you're going half the time. So
nope, you can't.
Just blind luck.
And then if you have too much backspin on it, it comes flying.
Yep. But you can't play Sfida just by going to the level. You have to clear out all the monsters first.
If you like Sfida, once you beat the game, you can actually unlock the Sfida practice range.
Oh, which would be handy more at the start.
Yeah. So once you develop this garden fully, you get this expose of Cyrus and the golden-breasted madam, and you move on to actually fighting Emperor Griffin. The final boss series in this game is one of the most difficult I've played in recent memory.
You think?
For one reason, that you are tasked with fighting 10 straight bosses. And the first 3 are the hardest. Well, the first 3 are of the hardest next to the very last one.
Just have to make sure you're stocked up on those healing items and have as many chests with your defense up and stuff as possible.
And this is where I truly had to go back. I had to go back and hunt for a second time because I was so low.
So you'd warned me in advance of this, so I was pretty buffed up, and I actually blitzed through all of the bosses in my first try, but you struggled, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. It probably took me 7 tries.
Wow.
Yeah, I really... So you beat the entire series of bosses first go.
So, yeah. So basically what soldiered you on was me finishing it, because otherwise you wouldn't have bothered, would you?
Yeah, I mean, I would have. I'd come this far.
You wouldn't. I always bully you into getting things.
You fight Emperor Griffin in his 3 different forms, and they're all drastically different combat styles. So if you don't have enough defense, there are instant kill hits that he has. You can get resurrection powders, and I think I had 3 of them stockpiled, but to make them is just insane. It's like 46,000 gold just to make one. Because you have to make all of these different series of items before you can combine those items to create your resurrection powder. So I only had 2 or 3, and I was just constantly getting one hit killed going into this. So you make it through the first 3 forms, and then you have what's called the grand finale, and you get taken to outer space.
It's kind of a weird alternate reality.
Yeah,
where a giant
and you have
doom like Majora's Mask style is about to come down and destroy the Earth.
Yeah, the Legend of Moon, the falling moon.
What is it with RPGs and moons?
I don't know. They're ominous.
Final Fantasy VIII, Lunacry.
There were two moons in the sky, and one of them was about to fall, and that was going to bring about the destruction of the planet.
Yes,
which makes sense. So after you beat those first 3 forms, you have 5 mini bosses to click through, and they're each fairly difficult. The 5th one of those being the most difficult because it's technically 2.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just have Steve and you circle strafe him, you're totally fine. But if you try to fight him straight on, you can actually get pretty devastated.
Oh, I just use Max with his gun. My go-to weapon by this point. It was just uber powerful.
So I finally got fed up with running out of health. So I got 20 bread, 20 cheese, and 20 spicy chickens. And it's like, I've got plenty.
I love this. I just imagine the idea of Max just sitting down and eating a chicken in the middle of a fight.
Guys, hold on. I'm going to eat this.
Just hang on. I need this right now.
So the first time I got all the way to the final boss, I was pretty excited about it. I'm like, I can do this. And then the 5-minute timer clicks on.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to beat the last boss, which was the dark element that actually possessed Emperor Griffin.
Yes.
And it's not readily apparent how you have to fight him. I struggled with figuring out his pattern the first couple times.
Yeah, he's invincible for a bit, then he suddenly becomes vulnerable.
Yeah, and if you are too far away from him, he teleports to you, does 2 hits, and then his 3rd hit, if you're not blocking, is an instant kill, regardless of how much health you have.
No, I survived it.
Did you? You must have had a lot more health than I did.
And higher defense as well, I think.
Yeah. It was an instant kill for me, so I had to be super careful about that. And then he disappears. Meanwhile, clock is ticking, and he becomes this giant visage of himself off the platform and fires all of these really high-powered lasers at you. And then he's vulnerable for about 3 seconds, and you can get a couple more shots off, and then you just rinse, repeat. I beat him with 9 seconds left.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it came down to the wire. The first time I figured out his pattern, he had 1 hit left. I had 1 hit left, and I got greedy because it was like 5 seconds left, and he got me.
Oh, man, that's
the old Dark Souls style of, well, I'm going to swing, and if I hit, I hit. If I'd miss, I die.
I've done that so many times. So many times.
Yeah.
Oh, you just get cocky, and then you're like, you should never get cocky. Not with this.
So, I mean, that's the end. You save the moon from falling into the planet.
But the moon actually disappears, and everybody forgets that there was a moon in the sky.
Well, Max and Monica don't, because they actually stand there and talk about stories down the line of talking, legends of when there were 2 moons in the sky.
Yeah.
But it's actually kind of sad, because at the end of this, Max and Monica have to say goodbye to each other, and Monica just heads back to her time.
It's like goodbye.
Like the Terminator.
Yeah. Apart from the Terminator doesn't return to his own time, he actually dies.
I mean, maybe she's dead. By the time she gets to wherever she's going, Max will have been dead for 100 years.
Oh, that's depressing.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
So she gets home and she's like, oh, well, Max is dead now.
Yeah, she'll find a way back.
So, while we did beat the final boss, this actually is not the end of the game.
No, it has more to it, which I do usually like about an RPG, but somehow I have not done this. Yeah, basically when it opens up, you get an entirely new dungeon, which is in a mine in the main town, which I saw earlier on. I was like, that's so going to be something. And it was.
41 levels.
41 levels. I tell you why I didn't bother with this, Eric, right? Because there is nowhere, because you can't go to the future anymore, that sells cheese, which you need for health.
You get them from Granny Rose.
Where's Granny Rose?
She's in the train. She makes them for you. So if you put her in your party, she'll make them.
Oh, right. I couldn't find it anywhere. And I was looking it up online. I was like, I can't be bothered. You know what? So,
Well, if you go to Balance Valley and talk to the chef there, he actually makes that chicken, which is full health.
Ah.
Yeah. It's expensive, though. It's like 180 coin
So,
per.
did you do any of this optional dungeon?
I did the first 2 levels and got my ass absolutely kicked.
It's
and
so
I had
difficult.
Max's best weapons. I had Steve upgraded all the way. He was still getting killed in 3 hits.
It's just rock hard.
It's very difficult. So I don't think I'll go through it, mainly because there's really no incentive to.
What do you get if you do it?
Nothing.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, there's extra scoops in there. So there are those special pictures that you can get. Like, if you want to get, I think there's one final piece for Steve that you have to get from Metal Flotsam.
Right.
It's a special scoop, but he's in the last room of that dungeon. And by that point, I hate it when they put really cool shit at the very end of the game. It's like, well, I'm already done.
I know, it's pointless, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I can't be bothered with that.
No, it was cool. It's definitely cool.
It's nice to have it if you want to keep playing, I guess, but if there's no incentive to do so. Apparently, I read up, Monica comes back at some point, somehow.
Oh, interesting.
Because you only have
Max
Max at this point, so if you die, you're dead. You cannot switch to the other character.
That's where I forgot about that, so I walk into the first level, and I'm like, all right, whatever. Got hit, died, and went, game over. Oh, yeah, Monica went back
Same
home.
happened to me, man. Same.
So I'm torn at the end of this game.
Why?
Kind of like I was afraid I always would be.
Why?
This has, for years, always been one of my absolute favorite games. It still is. I still think this is a game that everybody needs to play. However, I'm sad that I finished it because I don't know that I'll ever go back and play it again.
Well, I can understand that, I guess. I mean, I'll be honest, Eric, towards the end, I thought it got a bit tedious with all the ridiculously long levels, but I'm glad I played through it and finished it. I loved the georama elements, things. I loved the weapon mechanics with the upgrades.
Which carried forward into Rogue Galaxy.
Yes.
I think they improved upon it in Rogue Galaxy.
Oh, Rogue Galaxy, man. I've got an optional dungeon to do on Rogue Galaxy as well. I've never done it.
Oh, man.
That game was awesome.
That is truly an epic RPG that needs to be played. If you want to see where Rogue Galaxy came from, play Dark Cloud 2.
In fact, just get both and play through them. It could take you up until Christmas.
Oh, easily. How long did this take you by the end? What was your final clock time?
I didn't look, but 50 hours plus, I would say.
I think I was right around 55-ish. I was at day 102.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know.
No, I think the story really started to peter out towards the end. I really liked the story moving forward, but as soon as you hit the halfway point, I just completely lost interest in the story.
I mean, I think
part of that could
just has elements to it which don't really go anywhere. Like the whole moon thing is alluded to earlier on, but it isn't really mentioned until right at the end.
Yeah, it starts out really strong, and then it might be because the dungeons become so long, so tedious that there's such long gaps between plot dump that you just kind of forget about what's going on, and as a result, you stop caring.
Yeah. I mean, that's a problem with these kind of games. It's a problem with open world games as well, like Skyrim. I mean, I didn't touch the story in Skyrim for hours.
Well, I think Rogue Galaxy addressed that quite well because they were one of the first games to introduce the concept of your characters talking to each other as you're just walking.
Yeah, but saying the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, but it's story relevant.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
So,
I liked Steve the Robot better on Rogue Galaxy.
Oh, did you give Steve his voice chip in this game?
Yes, but I turned it off pretty much immediately.
He's annoying. I just didn't even buy it this time.
Yeah, he was pretty annoying.
So that's Dark Cloud 2, Dan.
It is.
Thanks for playing it.
You're making me want to play Rogue Galaxy again now.
I don't have 60 hours to drop into that game.
No, not with Final Fantasy coming out soon.
One game that you may actually want to check out if you really like this is White Knight Chronicle. made by the same team, and they do have the same diorama elements in there, but it's now building entire functioning towns.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's hard enough doing this one.
You could just buy White Knight Chronicle 2 because it comes with the full remastered edition of White Knight Chronicle
I think you said
1.
this last time.
Yeah. And you just play through the first one and seamlessly flip into the second one.
Sounds good.
No. Dan, should we do some emails?
Are we doing emails?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Let me see. I think we have one. It's only been a few days. If you want to send us an email, factoryseal@manatank.com, or
just send it to that one.
Yeah, just send it to that one. Podcast at factoryseal.com, factory-sealed. We have an email from Scale Enley.
Hello, Scale.
He's from Down Under. I wonder if he knows Picasso.
It's a pretty big country.
He writes, "Greetings, Factory Seal crew. Thanks for warning me away from Drüver. I'll add that to the no-fly list. Anyways, listening to you guys talk about not finishing a game because then you won't play it again got me thinking. I do that a hell of a lot. I'm currently doing my yearly game of Baldur's Gate 2. I never finish it because I get about 3/4 of the way through and freak out thinking I'm not finishing it properly and restart with a different party. Well, fuck it. Not anymore. This year is the year I finish it. I'm just going to play it as a halfling dual dagger wielding berserker, kill everything that's killable, fuck properly. Thanks for the motivation. My question this week is, if you could go back in time and tell your child self, don't get rid of that, it will be valuable to you in the future, what would it be? For me, it was my old Apple IIe. Think it ended up in an op shop.
My Sega Mega Drive.
I don't think that's really valuable.
It's not valuable,
though.
but it would be valuable to me because I would like one right now. So
I think what I would tell myself is, do not get rid of the boxes for my NES and Super Nintendo and N64 games and consoles.
No, definitely not. Somebody on our Twitter today posted a copy. Somebody on eBay was selling a copy of N64 Ocarina of Time unboxed for £524.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's insane. Just for the cartridge.
Yep.
It's just nuts.
I think I would have told myself, buy 2 of everything and keep one sealed.
Oh, God. You would keep both of them sealed, knowing you.
Well, I think that's not really a thing anymore because they've discovered that gaming is such a massive culture right now that they're not going to have limited releases of things. There's still a few games that are super rare release, but back in the NES and Super Nintendo days, yeah, there were a lot of copies, but not nearly as many as hit the market now.
Yeah, true. It's bigger than it ever was, isn't it, really?
Yeah. So he says, keep up the good work, Scale Only. P.S. Hot dogs are not sandwiches. P.P.S. Sarnie is a terrible abbreviation, but in Australia we call them sangas, so who knows?
Yes, you do. I saw this when I was over there, and I was like, what are they doing?
I mean, at least that makes sense, because there's that slang of like, I'm going to have a sandwich.
No, there isn't.
Okay. P.P.P.S.
Oh, wow.
Probably Lara Croft or Orchid from Killer Instinct. I think he's referencing the Haven one.
Episode, yes.
P.P.P.S. Seriously, try sit then stand for that extra fresh, deep, clean feeling.
Scale, I do. But thank you.
Gross. Just gross. That's it for emails.
All right. I didn't expect any this early in the week, so fair enough.
Leave it up to Scale to fill the void. You can always post some questions to us on our new Facebook group, which I think we probably should have done from the beginning because we have a lot more traction on that. A lot more people interact with it, which I really like. So, Dan, good idea.
Thank you, Eric. Oh, you never say that.
I know. If you want to see a picture that I posted that proves how much of an idiot I was when I was 6 years old, check out our Facebook group.
I actually enjoyed the poll I did yesterday, where I asked people whether they preferred the SNES or the Mega Drive. And did you add these in, Eric, the extra ones?
No, I was going to add in the Atari links, but it wouldn't populate. So
all right.
I just left it.
Apparently other people can add things to the poll, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
And somebody added the Game Theory Admiral. And it got 3 votes.
It beat out the TurboGrafx and 3DO.
Yeah, but 9 of you actually voted for the SNES and only 3 for the Mega Drive, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah. Well, the Mega Drive's not as popular as...
I always thought it was, but...
So we didn't really talk about this on the main show, but this week we are playing through the fabled Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past.
We are,
it was kind of
after much deliberation.
Yeah, it was kind of a pick up the game on the fly. I'm thinking it's going to have to be a 2-part show.
It is pretty long.
I'm probably 7 hours into it, and I've really only gotten 2 of the maidens, but I went through and got a ton of side quest stuff.
But I think this is a game that a lot of fans should really play along with us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If we're not recording this Sunday, that gives you a good week to get on with it, and you can then tell us how you feel about it when we play it as well. So grab yourself a copy, start playing it now. I mean, I'm only 3 dungeons in at this point, so...
Have you even hit the Dark World yet?
Spoilers.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, take my picture as a strategy guide for how to navigate the hedge maze, because 6-year-old me missed the giant arrow pointing into the gaping hole. And I had to call the Nintendo power line.
Oh. I bet they love talking to you.
Like this guy, they probably hung my story up in the break. Like,
lost.
Fucking moron.
Well done, Eric. Well done.
So that's this week. Next week, coming up. Oh man, coming up, we have some real doozies. I don't know. Did we talk about this on the show? My deal with you? I don't think we did.
What, Silent Hill?
Yeah.
Hey, don't mention it. Don't mention it. It's fine.
No, here's the deal, and it is now officially on record. Our show for Halloween on October 30th, we are playing Silent Hill 2. I told you we were going to do this last year, so here it is. This year, we're playing Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, thank you.
You don't have a copy.
I was hoping I'd be dead by then.
You didn't even come. You didn't even come close to finishing the first game. I am buying you a copy of the Silent Hill HD collection.
How do you think I'm going to cope with this? I couldn't even bring myself to physically go into the school on Silent Hill 1.
Well, here's the driving force behind it. I'm buying it for you. If you don't finish it, you have to pay me back.
Oh, fucking hell.
And I know how much you don't like to pay for games.
I'll pay you not to make me play it.
No. So here's the
Can I not play the
proof.
Resident Evil remake? That's on PlayStation Plus this week.
No, the proof, when you get to the end, that will prove that you have beaten it, is you doing a selfie video of the credits rolling behind you. That way you don't do any sort of Photoshop magic and just take a picture of the credits and mail it out.
Okay. So we'll see this happen. Yep.
That is the deal.
Oh, God.
So order yourself a copy, because that is a month away. Start playing it.
I don't want to.
You're going to need plenty of time to do it, because, it's only 8 hours long, but it's an 8 hours of pants shitting terror.
I'm just going to turn the sound off.
You're such a wuss.
I don't like scary games. Deal with it.
You're such a wuss.
I'm a wuss.
Daniel.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Where can we find you on the Twitter?
Find me on the Twitter at Frosted Sloth.
You can find me at Honest Pizza. Who cares about where you can find Tom and Jess, because they're never here.
Correct.
Yeah.
At Smooth Area and at Curly Nyan Lover.
Oh, we got to get him to change his from Hyper Jelly to Smooth Area.
I should find a Jock Buttons briefly. So.
Which was brilliant.
I think Jess should be at Munchier.
At Munchier.
And
Brilliant.
You can find the show at Factory_Sealed, and you can join our new Facebook group by searching for Factory Sealed Retro Gaming Podcast.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't fall for the page. You can go to the page, but you definitely want to join the group.
We do still kind of post on the page, but not as much, because it's better to do it on the group.
Yeah.
Groups are sweet tits.
Plus, we can now post as ourselves from mobile, so that's even better.
Wow.
So one thing I want to test, Dan, I was going to try it today. We can actually do a Facebook Live to this group page streaming the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Snazzy.
But there were some kinks with it today, and I just didn't have time to figure it out. So we might try that in the coming weeks.
Oh, that'd be good. And I believe we can start a Facebook chat to go alongside it. So, live nonsense from Factory Sealed.
Oh, God. So we may be back on the 2nd, if not that, the week after, with some Legend of Zelda Link to the Past.
Yeah, boy.
That's going to do it for the middle of this week. Maybe we'll see you in a few.
I do hope so. I like everyone.
I like you too.
I like you very much. I like Tom Smooth area as well.
So soft.
We're gonna go to Australia and watch the man make some paintings with his penis now.
It's just a matter of time. I'm going to get maybe we'll give away a Picasso on the show.
Hope so.
Gross. All right, that's going to do it for this week. We'll see you all next week.
Bye.